please consider liking and subscribing. So we are here to discuss the Los Angeles Rams and the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this game stunk, and it took every bit of energy out of me just to continue watching this game. The Rams ended up winning 34-11. This game was disgusting. And these playoffs, this wild card round has been absolutely disgusting to watch. There's been maybe 2 good games. It depends on how you want to look at it. You can say there was 2 good games. But these playoffs have been just absolutely brutal to watch. It's been nothing but blowouts after blowout after blowout. Like, this was the one game of the week where we thought, hey, we're going to get a competitive matchup. You know, these teams match up well. Both of these teams are coming in not playing very well. Well, you look at the Cardinals. They came in not playing well, and they looked like their absolute worst of the entire season. Kyler Murray in the first half had like 28 passing yards. And they could do absolutely nothing. You have Cliff Kingsbury's clock management at the end of the first half. I think the Cardinals, they got a 3rd down stop, and he just went into halftime with all 3 timeouts. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, Cliff. Like, they basically waved the white flag in the first half. The Cardinals were absolutely terrible. There was a point in this game where Odell Beckham Jr. had more passing yards than Kyler Murray in this game. This game was absolutely disgusting. It was frustrating because part of me inside was hoping that, you know, the Cardinals would pull off some magic BS, you know, Murray magic, and get back in this game. I was hoping. I was like, come on, get back in this game, please. Like, we want one competitive game that's compelling and not stupid the entire time. And we didn't get any of that. The Kyler Murray was absolutely freaking garbage in this game. Kyler Murray probably had the worst game of his career. He went 9 of 34, 137 yards, 2 interceptions, and he threw one of the worst interceptions of the entire year. Like, he went full on Carson Wentz on that interception. It was painfully bad. It was bad. Like, that interception was just comically bad. I don't know. Like, that's just the Cardinals. They're terrible. They're terribly coached. They played like absolute freaking garbage. I have nothing nice to say about the Cardinals. They looked like they hadn't practiced all week. Cliff Kingsbury is a terrible coach. He should go back to college or find something else, because him down the stretch late in seasons is just a recipe for disaster. So the Cardinals, they stink. You look at the Rams, they played a really good game. I thought that the Rams, they were just so much freaking better than the Cardinals in this game in all 3 phases of it. I mean, it got so bad that I was even nitpicking on Twitter. I was like, oh, the Rams started 3 drives or 4 drives, whatever it was, in very good field position, like near the 50-yard line, and they came out with 0 points on those drives. And I'm like, I'm just nitpicking at this point. They dominated this football game. Like, it was to the point where the Rams just literally had to stand there and they win this game. Like, it was like that. The Rams just literally had to stand there. And like, the most frustrating part of this entire game, other than the bad football that the Cardinals had, were the referees and their stupid replay assistant that they have on the field. It doesn't work, because the Rams had to challenge plays twice tonight in these games. Stafford was clearly in on one of the QB sneaks for a touchdown. They took forever to decide he was late or whatever it was, and then John McVay still had to challenge the play, which makes no sense. And then you had, I think it was AJ Green, they ruled it a catch and then a fumble when it was clearly not a catch, and Sean McVay also had to challenge that. Like, we were so hoping for some good in this game. And then you look at that, back to the Kyler Murray interception. Like, if he was smart, he should have just took the safety, you know, at that point, because, you know, giving up 2 points is better than giving up 6 or 7. And Kyler Murray was just awful in this game. The Rams, though, they do, however, have a lot to look for heading into the game against the Buccaneers next week. OBJ looks really good. Cam Akers looks really good in his return. I mean, his yardage wasn't good, you know, the best in the world, but you can definitely see a guy who had an injury where he shouldn't have been back that soon. He played a very, very good game. And then just some notes from this game. Matthew Stafford, first career playoff win. He has the most starts of any NFL quarterback in history to not win a playoff game. He finally got that off of his shoulder. Again, like I said, they play the Bucs next week. Cam Akers looked really good in this game. And I think the stress of finally getting that first playoff game, that first playoff win for Matthew Stafford may have lifted a burden off of his shoulder, and he can go into next week against the Buccaneers and hopefully play the game of his life, because you have the Buccaneers, their offensive line is a little bit banged up. The Rams offensive line is great, and Tom Brady obviously nowhere near mobile as Kyler Murray, so it's going to be very difficult for the Buccaneers and the offensive line. I'm hoping that game is more competitive than the garbage that we got this weekend, but in some good news, I got all 6 games correct this weekend, went 6-0 from the first game of Wild Card Weekend all the way down to the Cardinals and the Rams. But that's my recap of this game. This game, it took all my energy out of me. Like, I love football. I don't get football fatigue, and I still don't have football fatigue. What I have fatigue of is bad football. Like, it's just frustrating how they expand these playoffs and we just get a whole bunch of terrible matchups. Like, it's frustrating. It really is. I mean, it doesn't help that I'm recording this at 10:30 at night whenever I got about 5 hours of sleep the night before. But still, it was frustrating and I have no energy. But again, that's my recap of the Cardinals and the Rams. The Rams just blew out the Cardinals 34-11. Give me your thoughts down below of what you thought of this game, and I'll see you in the next one.